Big up Dan Potts and the 12th Man podcast, because they had a legendary stream last night. I was watching it. There was a few people in there. It's the whole argument between the Man United and Tottenham getting in the Europa League final, and the fact that Arsenal the only top 6 team to not reach a final this year. And it was kind of like, should the Champions League versus the Europa League, and why that what getting in the final is more important than not getting into a final, stuff like that. So big him up, because he let them talk and have their conversation. So it was a legendary stream last night. So big up Dan Potts, and big up my brother Stricto as well. You get me? Obviously big up the rest of the panel, Gunner and all them lot as well. But big up Stricto as well. You get me? It's my guy still. Like the way them lot were going back and forth about certain things. But I'm gonna play the clip, and then I'm gonna give my thoughts on it after. You know what I'm saying? And then kind of see what I feel about the situation.
Now we've watched Chelsea get to a Europa Conference League final. We've just watched Man United get to their full final in 3 seasons. Right, they've been to 9 in about 10 years, and they've been shit for 10 years. And they've still got to 9 finals. Right now, we've watched Tottenham get there. The winner of that, and Palace, by the way, are in a final. The worst Man City team in a decade are in a final. Newcastle beat us en route to a final. Yeah, we're the only top 6 team not to get to a final this season. Them 2 teams, one of them is going to the UEFA Super Cup final, by the way. So one of them has the potential to win 2 trophies in Europe, which, by the way, equals our fucking pedigree in Europe in our entire history. Yeah, are you not angry about that? Because if you're not angry about that, then for me, you're part of the problem. Because I'm angry that Chelsea are there, Spurs are there, Man United.
I can't understand you man just talking about. I can't understand you man just talking about us playing in Europa. Then, if that's what we're saying, let's get relegated and play in the Championship. Maybe we can win that and win a title and get promoted. I don't understand.
You see this suit here? You have no logic. You're still not even understand what we're saying. Hold on, listen to what we're saying here. What we're saying here, we stand a better chance if we play in the Europa League. Nobody said that we want to play in the Europa League. But we're just saying, if we're in the Europa League, we have a better chance.
We will in it.
Your problem is you don't listen. That is a problem. We are talking about turning over trophy in Europe. When European night come and they are singing that we never win nothing in Europe, what we're saying here, we are playing in Europa League because I see Manchester United and Tottenham in a final. Fam, that trigger my PTSD to a level where it gone sky high. My cold sweat wash me. You know why? If Tottenham ever go and win that fam, do you know? I don't even know. I don't even know the word in the dictionary. Do you know how embarrassing that look to see Tottenham, the worst season they have in over maybe 100 years, apart from when them get relegated, and they winning a trophy, Man City, Man City. Everybody can sit here and say Man City stink up the Premier League this season because nobody expected Man City to do what they do in the Premier League. People expected Man City to be challenging or up there, challenging or winning the league. But listen to what I'm saying to you, and I did say this to you about 3 weeks ago. Man City have more win than Arsenal. How embarrassing that is. Oh, embarrassing. Take a look back. Go and reflect back on your manager, what he is doing.
Brother, we have Stricto, I don't want to hear you. Stricto. We had this conversation, bro. We had this conversation, bro.
I don't want to hear you. Listen and learn. Because you're
I'll let you speak.
Hold on. No.
Go on, speak, man. Speak.
You listen and learn. You are backing failure.
Speak.
You see when Jose Mourinho come out and say that you are a specialist in failure, people like you is speaking to. People like you are failure. Because I don't know what people gonna tell me. I don't give a toss. Mikel Arteta come and where does he take our club was in disarray, people was fighting. Listen to me,
Brother, speak, man. Fucking hell, man. You're talking about listen. I'm listening. Speak.
You're gonna speak.
All you've said is listen. I'm letting you speak. All you've said is listen. I can't listen to you telling me to listen. Speak.
You're gonna speak gibberish. Yeah?
Brother, you said I should listen. All I did was listen to you telling me to listen, brother. Speak. But let's go.
One second.
But let's go back to what you're saying. You're saying that you rather us play in Europa. Let me speak now. I'll let you speak. You said hold on. I'll let you speak. You said you rather us play in Europa than the Champions League because we got more chance. I've had to watch people banter us for playing Europa and even banter us more because we didn't win it.
So why does it bother you if people ban? No, hold on. Why does it bother? Why does it bother? No, hold up again.
No. Hold up. Yeah, man. You have to answer that.
Why does it bother you?
Answer that.
Okay, no,
you have to answer that, yard man. Now come out your mouth.
What I'm saying to you, if we go in the Europa League and we win it, and they're in the parade in Ivory, you're gonna tell me you're not gonna be there? Are you gonna be there? Answer the question now. Are you going to be there?
No. There's a difference between. Hold on. There's a difference in winning a trophy than saying you want to go and play in a lower competition. There's a difference.
I don't want to be in the Europa League.
There's a difference.
So obviously that's the clip. That's the argument that they were having in it. So the point is the Europa League. Like my thing is this, yeah. If you're in the Champions League, like let's just do it on basic semantics, yeah. If you're in the Champions League semi-finals, like obviously this is not 100% true, but let's just do it based on paper. What's on paper? You're one of the top 4 teams in Europe, yeah. So Arsenal and Barcelona are technically 3rd and 4th, and we'll find out who's 1st and 2nd between Inter and PSG, yeah. If you're in the Europa League final, you're technically, it's 2016 of the Champions League, you're 37th and 38th in Europe. That's how I'm breaking it down. You're 37th and 38th. So I think what it is a lot of people that, because they're online so much, they're more worried about what rival fans are going to say than what the actual truth is. Like, how can we be in a situation where the Europa League, man are saying, oh yeah, I'd rather be in the Europa League to win that trophy than being a champion. Like, since when do you want to be in a lesser competition? How does that work? How does that work? Nobody, I don't think anyone, like if you ask anybody, even if you ask the guys that were on the panel, are Manchester United better than Arsenal? They would probably say no. If you was to ask them, would you swap Man United's position for Arsenal's position? They would probably say no. If they would say yes, then they're crazy, because I'm not saying that Man United have won 3 trophies. Sorry, 2 trophies in 2 years, yeah? So technically, you should be like, yeah, you've had a successful season. You should have kept your manager Ten Hag, right? Why would you not keep Ten Hag then? Because by rights, if the trophies are what are measured by success, because let's get it right, it is trophies that are measured by success, but it's not just trophies, it's which trophies you're winning for what standard of club. So for example, Manchester United winning the League Cup, yeah, and finishing, for example, 10th or 12th is an unsuccessful season. Manchester United winning the FA Cup and finishing outside the Champions League places is an unsuccessful season. This is the reason why Wenger said a long time ago that the Champions League spots were more important than certain trophies, i.e. the FA Cup or the League Cup. Because it turned out to be that was the case, because teams were now starting to focus on getting a Champions League spot more so than winning the FA Cup or the League Cup, because money was too great and you want to play in the highest standard competition. That's what happened. I don't know where, since when, because Manchester United and Tottenham are in the Europa League final, what it does, it makes everyone else start looking at, oh, Arsenal are not in a final. But Arsenal can't be in the Europa League final. It's not a possibility. Arsenal can't be in the Conference League final. It's not a possibility because we're not in those competitions. So why would you judge a team by what they cannot win? The only trophies that you can judge Arsenal by are FA Cup. Yes, Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final, Man City FA Cup, understandable. But even if you ask people at the time, would you rather choose the FA Cup or focus on the Champions League? People would have said focus on the Champions League. So you can't have it two ways. I can understand Newcastle haven't won a trophy in a long, long time, getting the League Cup and then making it a big deal. That makes sense to me because of they're on that come up, and but at some point they're gonna be focusing on the more important trophies. They're not gonna stay wanting League Cups forever. Manchester United and Tottenham are two teams that are finished 15th and 16th in the Premier League. And they're in the Europa League final. Yes, they're in the Europa League final. I don't quite understand how that has got to the point where that's looking at Arsenal. We're like, you are not in a final, so we're having a better season than you because we've got a trophy. Even though Arsenal cannot physically win that trophy. How does that make sense? I don't understand how that makes sense. Not only that, the Europa League, this is the first year that teams from the Champions League can't drop down into the Europa League. So a lot of these teams that were in the Champions League are not even in the Europa League this year. That would have been in previous years. Now, I'm not saying that Man United can only do what they could do. Amarim, for example, can only win what he's in. Like, he's in the Europa League. Just win what you're in. I'm here for that. You win the trophy that you're in. You're in the trophy that the competition that you're in. Yes, that makes sense to me. You know what I'm saying? But you're also in the Premier League. You also in the Premier League. So were Tottenham. Tottenham started in the Premier League as well. Do you know what I'm saying? And you also had the opportunity to go to the Champions League. Now, one of those teams are not going to win it. So when people are saying, yeah, but there's 6 teams that are in the final this year, only Man City or Crystal Palace are going to win the FA Cup. One of them are not going to win it. And Man United and Tottenham in the Europa League final, one of them are not going to win it. So it's all well and good saying, yeah, you got to the final to try and tarnish Arsenal's brush. But you can only say that when you've won it. We're in the Champions League semi-final. So us being in the Champions League semi-final is always going to be a harder standard to reach the final. We're playing PSG. Manchester United played Lyon. 2 completely different challenges. So I don't quite understand where this whole, oh yeah, we're in the final, we're potentially can win a European trophy, but you can't. I don't know where that's coming from, because everybody knows that the Champions League is a higher standard than the Europa League. And I think what it is because Arsenal have not won trophies for 5 years. It's like any trophy will do. Any trophy will do. And if that's the case, then fine. I get it. That's your mindset that you want to win any trophy. But you can't ever say to me that you think that Arsenal should be you'd rather Arsenal be in the Europa League because they got a better chance of winning it than the Champions League. You can never say that, because the standard that you want to be at, you always want to be at the top table. You never ever want to be at the second table or the third table just because it's an easier. You want to be a big fish in a small pond. Nobody wants to be a big fish in a small pond. You want to be a big fish in a big pond. You want to compete with the best. You want to be the best. And a lot of these guys online, that the Arsenal fan base, a lot of the guys are saying we've got high standards, we've got high standards. That's not a high standard wanting to compete in the lower tier trophy, in the lower tier competition. That's not a high standard. How is that a high standard? The high standard would be wanting to win the best trophy. You can't say, "Oh, I'd rather be in the Europa League because it's an easier competition to win." So you want easy. You don't like the challenges. You don't like the hardship. I'd much rather win the best trophy than win the easy trophy that is the second rate. It's not even like it's a League Cup and an FA Cup where no one can say which one's more important. We don't actually know. There's no basis to it. We all agree that Premier League and the Champions League are the 2 biggest trophies, right? Nobody wants to say, you can't, in the Europe, we all know the Champions League is number 1, Europa League is number 2, Conference League is number 3. Like my cousin said before, it's like acing the bottom set test, being in bottom set in school, and you're acing the bottom set. You're not even in the top set. You got an easy paper. You can't compete with the top set, guys. The levels are completely different. So I don't understand where this whole, the Europa League final, we're in the like Man United and Tottenham, and Man United, I can understand Tottenham because they don't win any trophies, but Manchester United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest club in the world. Winning the Europa League, to me, is like saying, you can only win what you can win, so go and win it. I rate that. Do what you got to do. But you cannot say to me that that's got any shade on Arsenal when Arsenal can't even win that. That's crazy to me, and that shows me the standard has dropped drastically. Because Ferguson, he's always competed with the best, no matter what. When Wenger came over and he changed the game, Ferguson adapted. When Mourinho came over, Ferguson adapted, competed. That's what Ferguson always done. I grew up on hating Ferguson because he's just always in and around competing for the league and the Champions League. When Barcelona, the greatest team, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets, who's competing with them? Ferguson. The finals, Ferguson. He's always competing. He always adapts, always competes with the best. That's what I'm used to Man United being. I'm not used to Man United winning the second-rate European trophy and then parading it around. Like, I understood why they sacked Ten Hag, because you won trophies, but those trophies are not good enough for your league position. Makes sense. Man United have got heavy standards. Makes sense. Now, you're going to win. You might potentially win the Europa League, and you're talking about, yeah, but we'd rather win the Europa League than playing the. Man United are not saying this. I'm saying that the argument was that we'd rather be in the Europa League than be in the Champions League. That's crazy to me. That don't make any sense. As far as I'm concerned, if you're in the Champions League latter stages, you're one of the best teams in Europe. If you're in the Europa League latter stages, you're in the second rate, one of the better teams in Europe. So you're outside the top 36 in Europe. These are the facts. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. And boy, I don't know what a lot of people said. I think they're too focused on what rival fans are saying, and too much tribalism. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I see it for real. You know what I'm saying?